junior, being on varsity 1 year, and the rest of the team is seniors. All the seniors leave. He becomes a senior. Now he has to deal with all these other young guys and guys who aren't as experienced as him. You can kind of compare it to that.
No, you know how I compare it to? I compare it to a guy who of one single player that has too much power in the organization. No, let's call it like it is. I mean,
he does have a lot of power.
Yeah, I mean, let's call it like it is. If somebody is supposed to be ahead of you, Mitch Kupchak, and you're the player playing for him. He writes the checks. Kobe, you don't write the checks. So, I mean, I like Bryant a lot as a player and as a competitor, but the balance of power in the organization is all over the place, and that's part of the reason why the Lakers are struggling, because there's no true voice. And at the end of the day, and I do agree with my Laker friends, Jim Buss has a huge responsibility and blame when it comes to this too. He needs to be the dominant guy in this, and he hasn't been the dominant guy.
So, I think it's just a guy who's been with the organization for so long. He has to have some power.
Yes.
And the thing with him and Kupchak and the way their relationship, I think it was just a heat of the moment type thing. I don't think that's anything. I really think it was a heat of the moment type thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't think he meant it in a malicious way.
I thought it was different, but that's just me.
So what did you take it as? You took it as him really. I just took it as heat of the moment practice. It was a bad practice, and he just said some things to the closest guy who was next to him, who happened to be the guy who who basically put together the team or out of the new guys.
No, I don't think it. I don't think it's heat of the moment. I actually think we should have predicted that this was going to happen, because he called out Jeremy Lin several times in front of the media. Okay, I don't think that's appropriate. I mean, there are a lot of guys you could go after on that team. Jeremy Lin's not one of them. I know he hasn't been playing well, but the credibility that Jeremy Lin has is just as good as anybody else. He completely changed the Knicks franchise. He, in Houston, was that spark. And now, in my opinion, I would think a veteran like Kobe would put it. I would think that Kobe would put him on his back and say, "I'm going to teach you the so-called Laker way, and we're going to get the job done together." And I felt like Kobe. Whenever I look at Kobe and the way he plays and the way he talks, I feel like he tries to act like everything he does is in spite of everybody else. Like it's one against his team. It's Kobe Bryant versus all of the Laker players.
But I think it's to a certain extent it's fine to call out guys. Lin hasn't had a good year.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So the thing is just Kobe. He's so competitive that he's taken on the challenge of working with these young guys, and saying it's going to be an adventure. It's going to be a difficult road. But I think he just realized that that's not who he is. He's used to winning, and I think because he wasn't there last year, had basically missed the whole season. But he hasn't had too many losing seasons, and I think this one's taking a toll on him. I'd hate to see what his thoughts are and what he's feeling, say in February. But the Lakers, I don't know what you can say about them. They're not a good basketball team. Obviously, they're probably one of the least talented teams in the league.
Okay.
Talent wise, obviously you got to put Philadelphia, because besides Kobe and maybe Nick Young and Jordan Hill, there isn't much talent on the team.
When you mean by talent, are you talking about like on paper, or are you saying like? To me, I think they don't have talent. They have talent to play better, but their cohesion and just lack of whatever system that they're running, I think their talent is better than what they're performing right now. They're not a playoff team, but they are better than what they are.
Yeah, I can see where you come from that. I don't think Byron Scott was right coach. I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a running coach. He spends his time in practice running. He doesn't. He wants to get you guys conditioned, but you're not practicing the offense. Lionel Hollins would have been a great hire for the Lakers if he was willing to. He would have been a great hire, much better than Byron Scott. It's
just I feel like with Byron Scott, I'm like, to me, with the talent the Lakers have, they are a 11th seed in the West. That's how I view them. But yeah, Lionel Hollins is even struggling in Brooklyn. I mean, these new hires, for the exception of Kidd, I mean, these new hires have kind of struggled. Well, besides Kerr and Kidd.
And Platt and Blatt.
And Blatt, yeah, because we know how great Blatt is. I mean, look, everybody thinks that this thing is not going to work out with Blatt, and he's going to end up going back to Europe. I think Blatt is we said this about Popovich.
I think he has a job for life in the NBA.
What?
I think he has. I don't think there's going to be a shortage of opportunities if he does get fired by Cleveland. I think there's always going to be some opportunities there for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think we said this about Popovich early on. When he first was the coach for the Spurs, we said, oh, a lot of people said this guy isn't ready. He's not a good coach. But fast forward 15 years later, and he's got a lot of championship rings on his fingers, and he has the best system in the NBA. So, I mean, we just have to give Blatt some time. And I think, Blatt will do well in Cleveland. But to me, the Byron Scott thing, yeah, I agree with you. It's been tough for the Lakers so far.
Somehow we always get to talking about the Lakers.
Well, because you bring it up.
Always a long discussion about the Lakers.
Because we have so many Laker fans who listen to this show and get mad at me every single time I say something negative about Kobe. I mean, anytime I say something critical about Kobe, I'm all of a sudden a Kobe hater. Man.
Hopefully he passes Michael on the all-time scoring list.
I do want him to pass Jordan. I actually do. I know that some of you are saying, oh, you're a radio host, you shouldn't be rooting for a guy to pass Jordan. But I'm tired with the obsession with Michael Jordan. Just the over. What? No. It's been, to me, the Jordan biasness in the media. I mean,
do you think he's overrated?
Let me just put it this way. Maybe we could talk about it on another show, a special edition type show, or we can even talk about it now. But is Jordan really the greatest player of all time? I mean, let's call it like it is. Is he really the greatest? Because everybody says it's all about championships, right? If that's the case, Russell should be the best.
No, I think people say it's all about championships to a certain extent, as in, like, if you're trying to compare a guy who has 5 rings to a guy who doesn't have any, that's when you bring that in. But I don't think it's all about championships. I think championship definitely has something to do with it. But, like, if you score in bunches, like, let me ask you this. If Kevin Durant never wins a championship but has more points than LeBron, who would you put? Has more points than LeBron when they both are retired, who would you put ahead? LeBron?
Well, I would wait. I would, first of all, I look at it different. I actually don't look at championships at all. I'm just saying other people do. Other people do. I don't look at championships at all. Because if that's the case, John Stockton is a mediocre point guard. I mean, Karl Malone is above average. I mean, like, championships mean nothing. But if you told me that Kevin Durant will have more points than LeBron, I know that for sure. But I do know this: LeBron will have more rebounds. LeBron will have more assists. LeBron will have more steals. LeBron will have less turnovers. And it's all about all-around play. And I look at Jordan, and Michael Jordan, and he did have some gaps in his game. That doesn't we don't really talk about it that much. I mean, we always talk about how great of a defender he is, but he never guarded the best guy.
We always talk about people. There's no shortage of people talking about Kobe's flaws or LeBron's flaws, but you never hear Jordan's flaws.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, because Michael Jordan, it almost seems like he gets a pass for any mistake he made. Or any times he struggled. I mean, he lost to the Bad Boy Pistons. I mean, people forget about that. I mean, he still lost to them. He turned it over a lot. He turned it over a lot against Shaq's Orlando team in the 90s. Even against Utah, he didn't have good shooting games. He wasn't always efficient. I mean, it takes a team to win a championship. So I never look at championships. Never.
Do you look at success in general, success of the team? Or is that to a certain extent?
Well, I look at the person's impact on the team, and did they transcend the game? Like, the reason why I give Magic Johnson a little bit of an edge over Stockton, it's not because of the championships. It's because Magic Johnson changed fast break basketball. Or I look at Karl Malone, and I think Karl Malone is better than most power forwards with championships because he changed pick and roll basketball. I mean, like, it all depends on the impact you have on the game and the overall skill you have. And, like, I still think John Stockton, like, he's a championship player who didn't win. It's because of circumstance. You know, that's how I view it.
Yeah, and modern day players, it's kind of like Chris Paul.
Exactly.
We see Blake Griffin wouldn't. I don't think he'd be where he is if Chris Paul wasn't on the team.
Yes.
I think Chris Paul made him immensely better as a player. Griffin transitioned from a guy who's really good at dunking to arguably the best power forward in the league, best big man in the league, and I think Chris Paul is like that type of player. Same with LeBron, type of player who make the players around him better.
Yeah.
And I guess you can't necessarily say that about Kobe. He doesn't necessarily make his. I think this year he'll make some guys better though.
Okay. Yeah.
This year, but yeah, I think championships are important for the team. Individual stats. I don't know how important they are. Like bring back Durant. He may never get over that hump and may never win a ring again.
Yeah.
But he could still go like he could be in that Karl Malone boat and just always come up short, but still be one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Durant will, but he can be in that same boat.
I think Durant lives in the shadow when it comes to championships. He lives in the shadows of the Spurs and LeBron, because those have been his the teams that have stopped him from reaching that ring. And I agree. I think it's unfortunate that people who watch basketball assume that some player isn't good because he doesn't have a championship. I don't think that's appropriate. I think it's unfair for people to say that. Because and by the way, you said Kobe, he doesn't really make his teammates better. Not as much as LeBron and Chris Paul, of course, but I still think when Kobe makes it a mindset, he really does make the people around him better. Everybody says he's incapable of passing. I don't believe that. I think he is capable of passing the ball.
Yeah, and I just want to go back to the okay. So we saw when LeBron left 2010, he left Cleveland. If Durant doesn't bring a ring to OKC, I don't think OKC fans be as ruthless, but should Durant be condemned if he does leave? Because he's available in 2016, which will be 9 years after he got drafted. Should be condemned by media, by fans for leaving OKC.
Never. I don't think any player should. I don't think LeBron should have. I don't think Chris Paul, like some people said, I know that was by trade, but Chris Paul or Dwight Howard I don't think a player should ever